What's up guys, and welcome back to my Lorethrough series. Today we'll explore the secrets of Leyndell that aren't part of any NPC questline, but are instead told through layout and visual storytelling. We'll start with the most obvious one and go more and more obscure and speculative, like a Leyndell iceberg if you will. If you end up enjoying this video, don't forget to subscribe, as I make one of these every Thursday. The corpse of the ancient dragon Granciax is probably the first thing your attention is drawn into when entering the city. On top of its giant spear, we can find that same spear but transformed to human size. From its description, we can learn that Granciax's attack was the only time that Leyndell's walls have ever fallen, and also that the attack started Leyndell's war against the ancient dragons. From the sword monument at Rampartside Path and the description of the lightning spear, we know that this war ended when Godwyn befriended the ancient dragon Fortisax after defeating him. This alliance and the following emergence of the dragon cult is the reason all the Leyndell knights use lightning, and the reason Fortisax's sister Lanciax defends the Altus Plateau to this day. The next thing I'd like to talk about is how a lot of Leyndell's design has a real-world inspiration, namely ancient Rome. Upper Leyndell's architectural style and the statues already kind of hint at this inspiration, but three major landmarks really give it away. The first one is obviously the Colosseum. The second one is the Earthtree Sanctuary that looks like St. Peter's Basilica, and the third is the Queen's Bedchamber that has a hole in the ceiling just like the Roman Pantheon. More parallels to ancient Rome include the outer and inner city wall, and the concept of not being built in a day. The Fortified Manner is architecturally and iconographically very similar to Stormvale Castle. Lower Leyndell has similar designs to Sellia and Nokron, and Upper Leyndell, as we've just mentioned, has its own unique style and was clearly built by and for the Earthtree. Another thing you might have noticed is that we've entered Leyndell through an eastern side gate instead of the main gate, because the main gate is closed. If you look at the map or off this ledge from the Divine Bridge, you will see that the main gate only leads to an empty void. Clearly this hasn't always been the case. There must have been a part of the city here before. But where did it go? If we had explored the underground areas a bit more before, we would already know that this part of Leyndell, just like Nokron and Nokstella, sunk underground and is now called the Nameless Eternal City. No wonder then that Lower Leyndell has Eternal City architecture. The Fortified Manor really stands out on the city map, as it has quite a different architectural style from, and is physically cut off from, the rest of the city with an inner wall. The lower part of the manor, where we can find Mad Tongue Alberich's armor set and join Bernal for an invasion, might already seem strangely familiar. But you will probably only realize what the Fortified Manor actually is when entering the upper floor. It is an exact copy of the Round Table Hold. But how? The Protection of the Earthtree incantation says that in the beginning, everything was in opposition to the Earthtree, and only through countless victories in war it became the embodiment of order. My understanding is that the Fortified Manor, which at the time was the structure closest to the Earthtree, was the first building Marika, Godfrey and his tarnished champions had control over, and where their streak of conquests began. It was their Round Table Hold, so to speak. What supports this theory is that the location of the coded sword suggests Marika's two fingers were here as well, giving Godfrey and his tarnished knights guidance. The coded sword is a sword granted to those all tarnished by the two fingers, when the finger's flesh was still full of vigor, according to its description. As for what that makes our round table hold, we can see on the map that it isn't really a part of the real world. My theory is that when Marika was imprisoned and decided to call the Tarnished back to the lands between, she conjured a round table hold that is an exact copy of the old round table hold where Godfrey became Elden Lord, in hopes that one of the revived Tarnished can do the same. One more notable detail is that there does seem to be some direct connection between the original and our round table hold, as the location of Alberich's set suggests he invaded us in our round table hold from here, and we do the same thing in our co-op invasion with Bernal. Finally, a theory that, if it is true, it is definitely the most impactful story-wise. You might have noticed that most of the capital, including the path from Erdtree Sanctuary to the Queen's Bedchamber, is covered in a thick layer of ash. Some residents even tried to seal their windows with wax. But where did all of this ash come from? When we take another glance at the Erdtree from here, it hits us. The golden Erdtree, the thing we've been chasing all game, it's not real. It's an illusion. The real bark of the tree is below the layer of gold, and I would bet that the top of it is completely burnt off. This must be where all the ash comes from. By the way, this theory, along with many other small details in this video, comes from Tarnished Archaeologist, my favorite Elden Ring lore YouTuber. If you don't mind spoilers, I'll leave a link to the relevant video below. It is even possible that only those with the guidance of grace can see the golden illusion of the Erdtree, as there are multiple bits of dialogue and item descriptions that ask whether we can see the Erdtree, which would be a pretty pointless question if everyone could see it, but not so pointless if some only saw a burnt trunk that's visible from the capital. For example, if you remember last episode, Box dialogue implies he only ever saw the Erdtree once we entered the capital.
My lord, did you see it? The Erdtree. I don't really have the words for this, but I was so dazzled. I felt something stir in my breast. The Erdtree is waiting for you, my lord. I know it, I do. I feel it in my bones. Oh, please, take the throne of Elden Lord.
For another example, there's this bit of dialogue from the finger reader Crone, just outside the capital's main gate.
The fingers I served once prophesied a Tarnished would one day become Elden Lord and restore the Golden Order. Surely you see it too. The gold that enshrouds the heavens. The great tree which begets the pillars of light. Oh, Tarnished, hasten to the foot of the tree. And whatever you might face, the fingers will surely guide you.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, as I upload one of these every Thursday. In the next video, we'll take a closer look at the Veiled Monarch of Leyndell. I'll see you guys then. Bye bye!